Could you talk a little bit more about the Anunnaki? And what is your
Sure.
knowing of the Anunnaki?
Sure. Well, the Anunnaki are a group of extraterrestrial beings composed of many different races, just like humans. And they actually come from the constellation of Orion. But they did not originate in Orion, but in terms of like in terms of like the story of the Anunnaki to our perspective, they come from that star system because they have been deteriorating their own ecosystem back and then, because they didn't hold like decreased consciousness within themselves. There were beings that were still in polarity consciousness, and so they were not connected to their nature, and they made a misuse of like their own potential as source energy, which is the development of intellect and technology. And so by disconnecting from the heart space and projecting more of their potential as intellectual and beings and holders of great information about technology, they eventually disconnected from nature and destroyed their own very nature, which is their ecosystems. So they went into a search of gold material, which was like the element that they understood that will heal and repair their ozone layer of their own atmosphere. And so by doing that, they actually should have like arrived into many different planets or stations for them, in which they will leave these this kind of like karmic intertwine of energies. Because when you take something like resources from a planetary consciousness, you are actually creating a karmic system, like a karmic connection with that ecosystem. So they have been habitating many different star systems, and when they eventually get to Earth, that's what they did. They found that we have a lot of gold and a lot of like resources and a lot of potential, as in terms of like resources and actually like genetics, because they observed that the hominids were they have like native DNA that they could mix with, so that they will create a slave race that will make that for them to extract the material, so that they will not be karmically attached to our planetary consciousness. So that's why they choose eventually Earth. It had a lot of potential for their agenda. And so they created what we are to the day of today, the human race, as a slave species. And they put those people to work in the mines, extract the energy, extract the material resources for them, so that the energetical, like karmic energies in exchange there will not be held by them, but rather us, in a sense. It will not be like a direct karmic connection. So eventually, as we are their children, not only the positive potential is what we inherit, like the knowledge, the intellect, the all of like the ancient wisdom, of like ancient civilization like Sumeria, but also like the negative karmic cycles of energy that they were repeating in different star systems, such as Orion. So when they created the human race, they disconnected many of the codons of the DNA, so that these aspects of like the negative karmic aspects of their consciousness will be enhanced, so that they will have more control over us, because by deactivating human DNA, they will disconnect us from Christ consciousness and from creator mentality, which is the ability to be empowered enough to create our own reality, we as conscious creators. So by enhancing this reptilian mentality, this mentality of survivor, those dynamics of victim and abuser, we will be placing third dimensional consciousness in polarity consciousness. And we will be in a mechanic or in a dynamic or like surviving a reality, not creating a reality, so that we will be kin to be slaved, to be mind controlled by them, and to be influenced, to have them as our source of influence, so that they could handle us and the course of our evolution. So eventually, as I said, the Anunnaki are a species, a group of many different races. They have more than just one subtype, and not all of them have the same agenda, of course, because there's a lot of misconception. Many people think that the Anunnaki are all native. Many people think that they're all positive, and that's not true, as it happens to any species. There are some who are positive and are helping humanity awake more of their increased consciousness, more of their like potential as, you know, source energy. And there are some who are like the dark agendas that we see to the day of today, who are the elite, the cabal, you know, all the deep state personnel, who are kind of like trying to enhance and highlight more of the Nephilim fallen angel DNA that they left to us. That is the karmic cycles that contain this karmic cycles of energy that they repeated, you know, that they from time to time, you know, in different, you know, planetary consciousness and star systems, so that we will make the same steps, and that making the same step, they will have control over us as a species, and we will not attain freedom. So yeah, there are many kinds of Anunnaki, so we cannot just refer to one, but eventually, as a, you know, as a holistic idea, that's who the Anunnaki really are.